Mr. Chair.
Okay, session resumed.
Mr. Chair, upon conferring with the Secretariat and my staff, I was reminded that in the previous hearings, the chairperson gave us some initial findings, and then the former chairperson of the COA, and then Commissioner Fabia, when we asked for the report, the good director was correct. No, he said as a policy, the COA does not come out with its findings until it's final. And Director Juliano's here came over to this representation just to introduce himself and say that as a matter of policy, any internal communication of the COA is not revealed to the public. I reminded him upon consultation with our staff that in the past hearings, upon the order of the Senate, the COA revealed with the colatilla of stressing to the public that this is partial and in fact referred so that the fraud division will further investigate, no? And if I'm correct, Director, correct me if I'm wrong this part, no? That is the reason why you are referring it to the fraud division because may findings nga. Kumbaga sa korte, may probable cause. But you're not saying it's final. They should dig deeper and it will be them finally who will say whether or not meron problema. But for in this case, there are two purposes why I want it read for today, no? Number one, nandito yung mga taga-BSP para manrinig na rin nila and they'll be given an opportunity to answer. Number two, in the past, no, kay Mayor Junjun Binay, kay Mr. Antonio Chu, sa media at dito sa hearing sa publiko, they keep saying they will comply. Pero pag hinihingi na ng government agencies, hinihingi na namin yung dokumento, hindi na nangyayari. If you remember, the different Antonio, no, Antonio Trillanes, challenged Antonio Chu to go to the Hacienda Rosario, no? And he said anytime. Pero pagdating doon, ayaw papasukin si Senator Trillanes, no? So it is in that spirit, Mr. Chair, that I asked the COA. I do not know if they need the authority, no, of their commission, but let me just cite precedent, no, of what happened in the previous hearings. And to give them a legal cover, may I ask that the committee order them to just read the highlights in fairness both to the public, the BSP, Noble Care, and Alpha Land, and to attach, no, any caveat, no, including and not limited to the fact that this is an initial finding and that they're asking another division of COA to come up with the complete findings, and then with secondly, please include in the portions you want to read whether or not the BSP and Alpha Land have in fact fully complied. Are they cooperating? Are they responding if you ask for a meeting, and are they giving all the documents that you need? No, I think the public should know, and they're here because I think, Mr. Chair, after this we can excuse them and go to a different topic. With your permission, Mr. Chair, and may I request that order be issued by the Chair. Yes. May I check?
If the director has in his possession this report referred to by Senator Cayetano, if you have this, then...
Yes. Mr. Chair, the basis of my request is that I think we wrote COA not only to be here but to bring the report.
Let me first confirm. Do you have the said report referred to by Senator Cayetano, Director Juliano?
Good morning, Your Honors. I have with me a memorandum dated March 11, 2015, referred by Director Joseph Anacay.
Okay, so can you read to us the gist of the report or a summary of the important points in the report?
May I request that Director Anacay be
being the one who prepared. Say, Director Anacay, please.
Director, Mr. Chair, with your permission, simply read the memorandum or the highlights, and I will refrain from asking too many questions so that the tax division can be the one to do the investigation. But please also answer my question if they fully cooperated with the COA.
Good morning, Your Honor. We would like to say that the BSP has complied with the request of COA for the documents. However, there were some documents which we still need in our evaluation. Primarily, what documents given to us involve those for the BSP and the Alpha Land agreements, the agreements concerning the construction of BSP office building in Manila, and the transactions regarding the parcels of land in Barrio Ugong, Pasig, Metro Manila. Now, in some of the initial observations concerning the property in Makati involves the following. The decision of the council during the 37th and 38th meeting to dispose the Maluge property through sale was made as the basis of the DOJ to approve the sale of the subject property. However, BSOP, or the Boy Scouts of the Philippines, entered into a JVA for the development of the property. Second, the provision on the joint venture agreement regarding the sale of the property fixing at 600 billion and the subsequent sale thereof in 2011 appeared to be disadvantageous to BSP. The third one, no income was recognized and received by the BSP out of its share from the project. It also appears that BSP is not reconciling and examining the records of the Alpha and Makati when it comes to this project. Now, can we go with another project? The Manila City property. Due to non-availability of the feasibility study or research conducted, if there indeed was, the audit team was not able to verify how the decision was arrived at for the construction of the BSP building in Manila. In view of the non-availability of the proposals received from the DMCI Homes and Golden Property, we were not able to determine if the proposal was the best for the BSP. And the third one, for the Pasig City property, the selling price was reduced largely from the offer price of 418 million, as discussed during the BSP Corporate Assets Committee, to the actual selling price of 263 million, as indicated in the MOA. Despite appraisals obtained by both parties for the property in 2000, said appraisals were not considered in the determination of the selling price of the property. The values pertaining to the building improvements, including land improvements, were not considered.
Director, just two clarificatory questions, Mr. Chair, with your permission.
Go ahead, please.
Sir, first, your statement was that they're cooperating, and I thank them for that, but may kulang kayong dokumento.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ano po yung mga kulang nyo? Para mahingin nyo na rin po sa kanila, and let's get a confirmation from the BSP representatives there that they will in fact submit these documents.
This involves the transaction of BSP property in Davao City and the transactions pertaining to the BSP property in Baguio City.
Okay. Pero sa ano po, yung sa Makati kompleto?
Meron pong dokumento po.
So pati po yung from the start, yung feasibility studies, agreements, etc., sinabit lahat?
Hindi ko po matya kung merong feasibility study na inibigay sa amin.
Sige po. But, may I request the BSP to also furnish this committee with a copy, but include the feasibility study or research undertaken before the joint venture was undertaken, as testified by your officials in the last hearing, na meron naman pag-aaral na ginawa bago nun. May I also ask for projects plans as mentioned at Section 4 of the JVA between BSP and Silvertown. Tapos yung mga lease contracts and sale contracts and loan contracts. No? The sale contract is also with kung nabenta na yung mga ibang mga units. No? Lastly, sir, Director, sorry, may I get an answer from the representative ng BSP na?
Thank you, Your Honor. We will inform the Boy Scouts of the Philippines about the additional requirements for the documents.
Pati po yung sinabi ng COA.
Opo.
Tapos, Director, yung nabanggit mo kanina that the property, di ba, fixed the value at 0.6 billion. No? Sa initial nyo bang pagsusuri, kinumpare nyo ba to sa fair market value or sa nakakuha ba kayo ng value ng property anytime around that time na ng sale na? Hindi pa? Or para sa tax, ano yun?
Yun, parang wala po.
Oh. Because I heard that they sold it nga for 1 billion, di ba yung 60-40, no? Pero a few years before that, and during the crisis pa, may meron na pong similar sales at 2 billion pesos. No? But anyway, I guess that will be for the fraud department to look into. Lastly, Mr. Chair, may I ask that the copy of the memorandum be submitted to this committee? No?
Memorandum read by the portions of which were read by Director Anacay, please. Can you submit to the subcommittee a copy?
We will reproduce a copy and give it
Thank
to
you, sir.
Sir Chair, may I be allowed to just thank Director Juliano and Director Anacay and assure you that your participation here is not a violation of your oath and your job because you're ordered by the committee to share these documents, and we will wait for the final audit of the different divisions of the COA. Mr. Chair, as far as this representation, I have no more questions unless the representatives of Noble Care and BSP here wants to make any kind of statement. We are open to them using this also as a forum to clear their name, Mr. Chair.
We have here Mr. Garcia and Mr. Sangalang of Noble Care. Do you have any statement to make, sir?
Mr. Chairman, good morning. None so far, Your Honor.
And Mr. Pangilinan of the Boy Scouts.
Your Honor, none so far.
What is your current position with the Boy Scouts?
I'm not anymore with the Boy Scouts of the Philippines.
Kaya nga, but we are treating you as the representative of the Boy Scouts of the Philippines. You were formerly the...
Former Secretary General of the Boy
But being a former Secretary General, please relay to the
Yes, Your Honor.
BSP our requests.
Opo.
So, we will try our best now to finish the Boy Scouts issue in one more hearing. No? We just need the presence of Mr. Ongpin and Attorney Oreta and Senator Osmeña. Okay, so in the meantime, since you do not wish to make any statement, Mr. Garcia, Mr. Sangalang, thank you for your presence. You are free to go. Mr. Pangilinan, thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, also the COA representatives, after they're finished their cup of coffee, unless they want
because
to...
they're limited to the BSP
yes,
only, no?
as of now, unless they want to monitor
Sige,
the others, but they are excused with your
Okay,
permission,
so,
Mr.
yes,
Chair.
since they are only here because of the BSP issue, proposed Senate Resolution 1114, you're also free to go. So since we will have to rearrange, maybe we may declare a 1-minute recess.
Pero pag hinihingi na ng government agencies, hinihingi na namin yung dokumento, hindi na nangyayari. If you remember, the different Antonio, Antonio Trillanes, challenged Antonio Chu to go to the Hacienda Rosario, no? And he said anytime. Pero pagdating doon, ayaw papasukin si Senator Trillanes. No? So it is in that spirit, Mr. Chair, that I asked the COA. I do not know if they need the authority out with its findings until it's final. And Director Juliano's here came over to this representation just to introduce himself and say that as a matter of policy, any internal communication of the COA is not revealed to the public. I reminded him upon consultation with our staff that in the past hearings, upon the order of the Senate, the COA revealed with the colatilla of stressing to the public that this is partial and in fact referred so that the fraud division will further investigate, no? And if I'm correct, Director, correct me if I'm wrong this part, no? That is the reason why you are referring it to the fraud division because may findings nga. Kumbaga sa korte, may probable cause. But you're not saying it's final. Mr. Chair?
Okay, session resumed.
Mr. Chair, upon conferring with the Secretariat and my staff, I was reminded that in the previous hearings, the chairperson gave us some initial findings. And then the former chairperson of the COA, and then Commissioner Fabia, when we asked for the report, the good director was correct. No, he said as a policy, the COA does not come. They should dig deeper, and it will be them finally who will say whether or not meron problema. But for in this case, there are two purposes why I want it read for today. No, number one, nandito yung mga taga BSP para manrinig na rin nila and they'll be given an opportunity to answer. Number two, in the past, no, kay Mayor Junjun Binay, kay Mr. Antonio Chu, sa media at dito sa hearing sa publiko, they keep saying they will comply.